What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Black American channel of the free and the brave. Now, today I have a very serious video that I'm going to be reacting to. It's from a Latino, an individual of Latino descent who is going to be giving the Black community some truth that we are not ready for. It's a lot of things, everything that I agree with, but if I say it, I'm all kinds of names: Uncle Tom's, the House Negro, the Coons, everything like that. Trust me, I've heard them before, because once you hold Black people accountable, you're racist. You're not for the culture. Now, his response is coming from the most recent loss of the most beloved Jasmine Crockett down in my home state of Texas. And of course, the rapper Plies, because he always has something to say. And of course, we exalt rappers out of all people to be the spokespersons for the Black community. Now, before we get into it, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 9,000 subscribers. And leave your comments down in the comment section so we can have a conversation. Now let's get into it, because it's going to be a long one. Be ready. Hopefully you stay tuned. Let's go.
You're trying to blame Latinos because you picked bad candidates and we didn't join you. So now the internet is flooded with videos like this TikTok from the rapper Plies, where he's wondering where Latinos are at. And I'm going to be as honest as I can possibly be in responding to Plies' TikTok from the perspective of a fully assimilated Latino, more specifically Mexican American.
Hey, just real quick, but this to my Latino brothers and sisters that follow me on here. I'm trying to figure out, do y'all feel like y'all align more with Black folk, or do y'all feel like y'all align more with Caucasians?
Depends on what you mean by Black folk, and depends on what you mean by align. Because if by Black folk you mean people that want to use their race as an excuse for bad behavior and their reason for being irresponsible failures, then no, we definitely don't align with that. And if by
And what he means by that is that Black people, we use our race as an excuse for bad behavior and failures, in a way, because racism, white man bad, to the point where it's said as if we can't do any better because our ancestors 2, 3, 4, 5 decades ago were mistreated. Therefore, we must act inappropriately and be irresponsible. And those atrocities in the past are adequate reasons for it. No. And the people can see that now. I mean, they've been able to see it, but I'm just so glad that people are actually being vocal about it, because there's nothing today that a Black person does that is affected by somebody 300 years ago. We live in 2026, y'all. You can be a millionaire in 2 years if you want to be. If you get the right information, make it happen, you can do it. Let's go.
by align, you mean, are we going to let Black people tell us how to vote and what words we can and can't say and who we can and can't hang out with or support? Then that's a no as well. We're not doing that either. And the only reason some Black people care about this anyway is because they've realized that we as Latinos are the bigger minority and the fastest growing minority group, and they know that they need us more than we need them. So after years of being insulting with Latinos and everybody else, and doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on self-defeating behaviors, they're looking around and seeing that they don't have any allies and they're not going to be able to bully other groups into going along with their foolishness anymore. So now they want to...
Let me speak on that. What he just said about bullying other people to voting in lockstep with the Black community. The only people that are going to do that is white liberals, because they have the white guilt. And they too hate themselves. White man bad, all the atrocities, blase, blase. We've heard everything. All of those arguments, I should say. So don't be surprised. You can't be surprised that Latinos don't just fall lockstep and link arms in your policies, your candidates. It's not happening. I remember I used to live down in Houston, right? And there was this whole thing about the Latinos of Houston trying to identify as white. They're not identifying as white. They're identifying as voting for policies that benefit them, no matter who is in office or what skin color they have.
Guilt trip Latinos and be like, I thought we was boys. But anyway, let's go ahead and compare that with white people. For as much as black people will call a person like me white adjacent and tell me how racist white people are, I've experienced way more racism from black people than I ever have from white people. And while for some white people, but in my experience, very few, and I have traveled all over this country, race is still an issue. For the most part, what I personally see white people, especially on the right, dividing about is American, meaning United States citizen, versus non-American. And while I can't speak for all Latinos, I would tell you that Mexican Americans specifically, for the most part, come to this country to fully assimilate and be American. So I would say by your definitions, most of us probably align more with white people than we do with black people, but
Woo, he said a lot right there. He going in, and I like it. So, first of all, yes, black people are possibly the most racist people in America. And we're going to see as we get farther down along the line when he starts bringing up Jasmine Crockett and even some of the things that Ply says. And black people are just so oblivious to it, you know? So, like the gentleman said, he experienced more racism from black people than he has white people. Same. Especially when you don't align with them, they become the absolute most racist people I've ever seen. I grew up around nothing but white people. I don't say nothing but I did grow up in a predominantly black area. But my mom's best friend was white. My dad's best friend was white. My dad's best friend is my godfather. My best friend growing up in middle school, one of them was white. Once you're around them so much, you understand that they're just Americans just like us. They're not out here thinking about white supremacy and how can I get a foot up on a black person, a brown person, a POC, person of color. They're not thinking about that. And like what I come to find out and realize, even from some comments on a video on one of my previous videos today, that black people think white people are really out here on some white supremacy shit. like it's comical. Like when I bring it up to around my white friends, especially my wife, she's white. Oh my God, you are cool. You a sellout. They're so flabbergasted with the idea that as other struggling, trying to make it true and blue Americans out here, that black people think they're trying to hold up this facade of white supremacy. Crazy.
Only because so many black people insist on dividing by color. But for a person like me, I think about it less in terms of color and more in terms of branding. Like in my opinion, white branding is very pro-American, where black branding seems to be the complete opposite and more about being forever disenfranchised.
And the reason I say that is because when I used to hear black and brown people, and I always thought we was like jointed to the hip. Like I always thought we was the black folk, Latino, brown, So I always thought we kind of shared some of the same struggles, same hardships, same, just, we were similar.
That's funny because I always saw it as some black people were cool, but most just liked to complain all the time and had a bad habit of holding up their worst as their best. Where we as
Okay, let me touch on that. How he said that being around black people, black people complain a lot. I know white people, a lot of them. And one of their grievances about having black friends is that everything is negative. Everything is a complaint. It's exhausting to hang around black people because they have the victim mindset that everybody's out to get them. Bottom line, is that you watching this video? Are you trying to find all the microaggressions out here? A lot of that stuff is fake. White people ain't walking around thinking about you, think about us that much. They're trying to go to work, make some money, stay alive, find something to eat, keep a roof over their heads, and stepping on the necks of Black people is not a top priority. It's not. Get over yourselves. Get over yourselves.
Latinos are quick to disassociate with other Latinos that do illegal or stupid stuff. Where a lot of Black people not only make excuses for their worst, but try to turn them into heroes. Like recent examples of this would be George Floyd, Mike Brown, and Carmelo Anthony. And then get mad at everybody else when we don't buy into them as heroes.
You know, I remember growing up, all my Latino buddies, they was on what I was on.
Yeah, maybe this is because he grew up in Florida and they have a lot of Cubans there. But I know here in Arizona, as far as Black people and Mexican Americans went, Black people were always mad at Mexican Americans because they thought that we wanted to be white. And the reason they always thought that was because a lot of white people were really cool with us and would invite us to things, and in a lot of cases would let us date their kids when we were growing up. But I personally always thought that had less to do with race or skin color and more to do with the fact that we knew how to behave in public.
It is about behavior. Let me explain this to you. White people don't hate Black people. White people hate the behavior that a lot of Black people exhibit. Let me explain. I just moved into a gated community, right? Bunch of white folks out here. Just one other Black family. You know, some Asians. And as soon as I come in, you know, myself and my well-behaved, well-mannered family of 3 welcome with open arms. Meanwhile, some of the neighbors were explaining to me that they are trying to rid the neighborhood of a particular family that lived catty-corner to me. Now, this particular family, loud, obnoxious, blaring inappropriate music all times of the night, had known, documented drug deals. So that subsequently called for a copious amount of unsavory individuals coming to the community to make street pharmaceutical purchases, domestic violence. Their house was in disarray, not well kept. HOA is, I'm sure, is not happy about that. And guess what? That family was white. Has nothing to do with race. Has everything to do with behavior.
But now that I look at it, it ain't as clear to me no more. And I'm trying to ask y'all, do y'all feel, Latino brothers and sisters, do y'all feel y'all are more in line with Black folk? Or do y'all feel like y'all are now more aligned with Caucasians?
Again, I think we align more with being American, which is something a lot of Black people have a really hard time grasping. Also, a lot of Black people's entire identity is based on victim mentality and perceived racism, and that's not how we as Latinos are typically raised. And that's what I meant a few minutes ago when I said that Black branding tends to be more about being forever disenfranchised, where we as Latinos, for the most part, try to assimilate. And I know some people will chime in the comments and be like, wait a second, I know plenty of Latinos that only speak Spanish and live in Latino neighborhoods and don't really do anything to assimilate. And to that I would say that's why most of us Latino Americans are fine with those people going back, which is something a lot of white liberals and Black people in general just don't understand, is they expect us to have this loyalty to people that in a lot of cases we have no connection with. And I think a big part of that is because, like I said, there is some sort of loyalty in the black community where they really do tend to make excuses for the worst of their own, or attach themselves to the most ghetto, or act like you're being disloyal to what it is you are by not attaching yourself to that, where we as Latinos
Yes.
really weren't raised that way at all. Like,
Yes. Oh my God. So the black people, my people, have created this culture of, if you're black, you have to agree with the culture no matter what. No matter what. And nobody else in the country does that. If there's deplorable behavior, Latinos will excommunicate that person. Asians will. White people will. Black people, Carmelo Anthony. Why is there a divide on whether or not that man should be locked up? He went to a school, a track meet, and stabbed a man in the heart. All records show unprovoked nothing, but it's a white person, so he deserved it. I saw you saying he deserved it because he was white. Black people, do you know how asinine you sound? And then once you look up all these travesties with these so-called martyrs like George Floyd, who had enough fentanyl in him to kill a reindeer, and then Trayvon Martin, I looked up the actual documentary on that. Listen to the 911 calls. They have text messages from his girlfriends at the time. He was a complete thug, and he ran down that man, Zimmerman, and assaulted him in a state that has the stand your ground law. How are you standing up for this? Oh, because he's black. His ancestors were victims. Oh, look, that victim mentality gonna keep on getting a lot of y'all killed. At least you better start acting right.
we as Latinos, if you want me to be 100% honest about it, will in a lot of cases even ditch our own family members if they turn out to be toxic or bad for us. And for some Latinos, yeah, that does tend to be a little harder. But what I've noticed in my personal experience is Americanized Latinos are very quick to separate from anything that's not going to help them get ahead. And I know that bothers some people, and I know that some people look at that as not the best trait, but we're not usually out begging people for things, and we're not celebrating being on public assistance, so I don't really know that it's something that I personally am ashamed of. But to get back to the point that I was making about how some black people love to live in victim mentality and perceived racism, as Latinos, or more specifically Mexican Americans, we're just not raised to use that as a crutch. I mean, people in general will always have biases, and sometimes those biases will have to do with race. Which, keep in mind when you're listening to me that you're getting the perspective of a Gen X Latino that was raised in Arizona at a time when some people were really racist because the older people that we were dealing with when I was growing up had just been raised that way. But even with that being the case when I was growing up, my parents spent zero time talking to me about racism, and they never made me feel like that was an excuse or a reason that I would end up being a failure. Racism was very rarely even discussed in my house growing up, where it really feels to me like black people are raised the complete opposite. And I know some black people are going to be in my comments like, well, what about slavery? To which I would say, I don't care about slavery, and I don't think anybody else does either.
Let him cook. Now, he's right. I agree with him on 100%. I also don't care about slavery. It happened. Yeah, it happened. Why are we still crying about it today? If we're so resilient, why are we still crying about slavery? Nobody alive experienced it. Nobody alive owned slaves. And it's been generations. What was it? 1865 Emancipation Proclamation? Let it go. Let it go. And back to how black people are raised. Yes, we are raised to believe white man bad. I remember quotes from family members saying, don't trust whitey. And I think about that to this day. And I'm like, You don't even know white people. You sit in your echo chambers of gossip girls and talk about what you think is really happening. A lot of these people didn't even graduate high school. They don't know what's going on in the world. Let's not talk about the black literacy rate. Let's keep going.
Which is something certain black people refuse to understand. A lot of us, and this isn't just Latinos, and I know that this is going to hit with certain black people a particular way, but I'm being as honest with you as I possibly can. A lot of us, in general, of all races, don't care about Black Wall Street, don't care about redlining, don't care about Emmett Till, and don't care about any of the other things that you're going to bring up for why you all haven't been able to get ahead in all the years that you haven't been able to get ahead. I mean, every single group in this country has had a struggle, and the ones that tend to do the best are the ones that don't dwell on it. Hint, hint.
Yes.
And at some point, black
Yes.
people are going to have to accept that slavery ended in this country in 1865. And while I hate to sound rude, if you or your family haven't figured it out in all those years, maybe you just come from an ain't shit bloodline. And I say that
Oh, you got to be honest. There's a lot of ain't shit black folks out here. Victim mentality. If I didn't get the job, racism. If I didn't get the promotion, racism. If I didn't get an opportunity, racism. He looked at me weird at the store, racism. It's old, and people are tired of it. As you can see, people are tired of it. You can't be a victim forever. You can't be a victim forever. Are you going to be a loser your whole life and blame it on racism? Everybody has racism. Even white people go through racism today. There's been so many accounts where you can't get positions, roles, jobs because you're white. And you're still a failure today, black person. And we have all these initiatives to help us out. And you still crying. You still bitching around crying. We got to come to a certain time where we as a people shift our mindset and stop becoming victims and becoming conquerors.
Because we have rich black people in this country that come from a similar lineage as far as being the descendants of slaves as the ones that are always complaining and acting like that's an excuse to not have gotten ahead in all these years. So really, if you ask me, maybe instead of looking at everybody else and trying to find somebody to blame, the only person that you need to blame is yourself at this point if you're an adult. Because I wouldn't even buy into the blaming your parents for that, because at a certain point, you're out on your own and you're making your own decisions. So really, how is that my fault or anybody else's fault? And why would I want to align with that type of thinking anyway? And again, I know to some people that this is going to sound harsh. But let's be 100% honest about it. We have other people coming to this country, different races, different ethnicities, in some cases completely penniless. And in a fair amount of cases, within 1 or 2 generations of getting here, those people are thriving. And some of those people,
and you don't even have to be an immigrant. I know he wanted to bring up immigrants that come here and thrive with no money, which is absolutely insane because you're coming from a whole different country, different culture, and you're dropped into a new world and then they say, figure it out. I want to bring myself to the table right now. I was very irresponsible for a large portion of my adult life. Bad credit, debt, and I can tell you, once I changed my mindset from victim mentality to mentality, I can tell you that I probably went from a 500 credit score to 820 in maybe a year and a half. I went over 6 figures income And it was all because I realized nobody is coming to save me. I live in the most prosperous, wealthiest country in all of human history. And if I can't make it today, then I don't deserve to make it. I've been happier than I ever been once I changed my mindset, because when you're a victim and everyone's out to get you, you live in this perpetual state of anxiety and depression and helplessness. And I just had to break free from that slavery, because that's the new slavery.
People, even though they come from different parts of the world, are black as well. But for some reason, for some black people whose families have been in this country for generations and generations, FBAs, I believe they call them, foundational black Americans. So here from the beginning, and it still hasn't been possible for you to turn into any type of success? So really, what exactly is it that we're supposed to want to align with? And at what point do you finally just accept that maybe looking at the rest of the world and trying to figure out how everybody else has done you wrong isn't ever going to change your particular circumstance?
And that's true. I see a lot that black people always say, everybody wants to be us. What? No. Why do you think that? What, like, explain that to me. In what way? The most illiterate group of people. We have what? The lowest net worth as a group of people. I mean, you look online, any and everywhere, we're known to be the most loud, obnoxious, most degrading, deplorable music that's being created. What about blacks? What about black culture do we want to be? I mean, it used to be something to be proud of, back in the 60s and before, when we would walk outside and, dress like we loved ourselves and respected ourselves and not had cheeks showing and, cleavage showing and dressing like we wanted to be ladies of the night. Because today we can't tell whether or not you are a legitimate, respectable woman or a lady of the night. There's no differential there. So what about it? He brought up a good point that I'm really thinking about. What about black culture is something that others want to aspire to be? Can somebody please leave that down in the comment section, please? And I will reply.
I mean, like I said, slavery ended in this country in 1865. So if you haven't been able to change the outside world in 161 years, it probably ain't gonna. So you might as well work on yourself and see if you can get a better result that way.
And I don't know if y'all feel like y'all more aligned with Caucasians or if y'all inspired to be more like them than y'all do black folk. I don't know. I'm fine with it either way.
I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but I noticed you said if y'all inspired to be more like them, which I know what you meant was a...
Sorry, bro. We all know as black people that Plies, his accent is ignorant. He can't speak. It is what it is.
And I'm not trying to be shitty. I'm just translating really quick for the viewer at home. And really, all jokes aside, no sarcasm.
He says number instead of number, so... It is what it is.
Exactly is to aspire to when it comes to the black community? I mean, you guys are always literally telling us how much it sucks to be black. And I say this honestly, according to a lot of black people, you can't get jobs, you can't get ahead. The whole world is against you. And we're supposed to aspire to be that? I mean, what else should we aspire to in this great quest? Government assistance? Section 8 housing, burning down our own neighborhoods when people from our own communities don't behave and end up having run-ins with the cops that don't work out in their favor. I mean, how would we ever be able to dream so big? But again, all jokes aside, what exactly in that recipe are we supposed to want? And in this instance, I use that word recipe specifically for a reason, because as far as I go, that's exactly what it's like. It's like the Black experience is like a cake. And you guys are always telling us that this cake tastes like shit. And no matter how you tweak the recipe, the cake still tastes like shit. But you insist on looking at us as Latinos and being like, you have to try this cake recipe. And we as Latinos are like, no, I don't want your recipe for that shitty cake. Actually, the cake that we're making right now for ourselves is turning out pretty good. And Black people are like, well, you've got color in your skin and we've got color in our skin, so you guys should join in on this cake with us out of solidarity. And we as Latinos are trying to tell you, we did not come to this country to join you in eating that shitty cake. And the fact that you think that we should join you in eating that shitty cake just because we may or may not have similar amounts of melanin in our skin makes absolutely no sense at all. And if that means that in your eyes we're trying to be white, we would rather have you see us as white than join you in eating that shitty cake.
Okay. Are you eating the shit cake? I used to eat the shit cake, all right? I was born into it. I had to eat the shit cake for a certain amount of time, okay? Shit cake got old, all right? I had to figure out, what am I going to do? Because reparations ain't coming fast enough, all right? I'm not going to get my $1 million, my $3 million. I got to figure this shit out. And if figuring this shit out means I'm being white, then God damn it, I'm going to be white. Because guess what? White people, believe it or not, they founded this country, which happens to be the greatest country in all of human history. So here's what happens. You grow up Black, speaking Ebonics. You don't have all the finer things in life. You don't have a silver spoon in your mouth at birth, right? But if you progress out of that and you want better for yourself, there's going to be a large amount of Black people that are going to call you white and say you're trying to be white. No, I want to be educated. I want to speak well. I want to dress well. I want to have a nice house, not in a neighborhood where people will come and break into it and steal all of my belongings and harm my loved ones. Nipsey Hussle should have left the hood.
And what's so terrible about being white or hanging out with white people anyway? I mean, sure, every once in a while, you may find raisins in your potato salad. But I think we all can agree that most white people know how to make a cake. I mean, Aunt Jemima may have been Black, but Betty Crocker was a white woman. And white people, don't get mad at me about saying raisins in potato salad. I know not every white person does that, but I grew up around enough white people in small community Arizona to know that every once in a while, you literally do end up with raisins in your potato salad. My hand to God. And you know I'm a good Catholic boy. No.
I got to be honest. I've been around a lot of white folks. I have never had potato salad with raisins in it. And my wife can cook, okay? She can cook. I should show you our seasoning cabinet packed full of seasoning. Sometimes I have to tell her, babe, not so much salt, please. Not so much seasoning, please. Anyway,
I have had raisins in the potato salad before. I know nobody's going to be happy with me for this video, but for John, we must. What's up, everybody? So I decided to make this video because I noticed that a lot of people in the Black community are really lashing out at Latinos. And to me, I'm not really sure where that comes from. And I don't know where some Black people ever got the idea that we as Latinos owed them this undying support, and we were involved in some sort of coalition. And like I said in the beginning, I really do feel like it really is a matter of Black people looking around and realizing that they're not exactly the force that they thought they were going to be politically or even socially at this point. And now they're really trying to find a group that they can guilt trip into going along with them because bullying isn't going to work out anymore. And
that's a good point there. We're not where we are socially or politically since civil rights, right? Things should have gotten exponentially better after getting the right to vote. But unfortunately, through certain governmental benefits that were offered, we married the government and we kicked the dad out the house, which created a string of problems, an absolute string of problems. It put mothers, the Black women, into uncompromising situations, having to lead the household alone. It put fathers outside the house, estranged. A lot of them got locked up. And subsequently, there's teen pregnancies. There's baby deletion, that whole unborn baby genocide that we have going on, because we absolutely delete the most amount of our unborn, which is a story for another time and another day. And the snowball got bigger and bigger to the point today, what we were in the 60s when we had the highest marriage rate, look it up, 85%, I believe, maybe 90% marriage rate amongst having children, to now there's 75, 80% of Black men not being in the home when child is born. And we all know we need fathers in our lives. I'm going to keep going, getting a little teary-eyed over here. Let's go.
Something that Black people are just going to have to make the adjustment on. You're going to have to earn your way just like everybody else. And I know that some Black people act like we tired, we work harder than everybody else. Well, none of us are seeing it. And a lot of your checks aren't showing it from what you're telling us. So can we stop pretending like we're all living in this world that we're not living in, and Black people are doing better than everybody, but for some reason always asking us to make life better for them in some way, or thinking that they deserve reparations for I don't know what, like generations past? It makes no sense, and it's annoying. And I'm just going to be honest in this video, and people can either like it or not like it, but it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. So I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can, because Plies in this video really makes it seem like he wants answers, but he just kind of keeps asking the same thing over and over. But I have a different answer for him every time he asks.
I'm just trying to get clarity on it, because it's not as clear to me now than it used to be. Like, I used to think we was in the same fight.
Well, we're not. And a big part of the problem is in your wording right there. Like using the term fight. And earlier you used the term struggle. Black people always want to be in a fight and a struggle and don't realize, like I said earlier, everybody has a fight and a struggle. But some Black people want that to be their entire personality, and you can 100% have all of that.
But now when I see things, you know, I remember the last election talking to Latino folk, they, oh, no, he gonna give us money, he gonna, you know.
And you hear that accent he's doing right there? That also is a huge part of the problem when it comes to the way Black people see Latinos, is that Black people don't seem to understand that there is a huge difference between legal Latinos and illegal Latinos. And the other thing a lot of Black people don't understand is just because some of us may have come from the same place generations back, doesn't necessarily mean we have a connection to those people now. And the fact that you all can't get that is truly racist of you, because you definitely will acknowledge and can wrap your mind around the fact that there is a difference between Black people here and a Black person from Africa. And again, let's compare that with white people. A lot of white people regularly say that they don't have a problem with people coming here from other countries as long as they do it the right way, meaning the legal way. And once the people that come here from those other countries go through the complete process and are legally Americans, Most white people that I know are completely cool with accepting them and respecting them as Americans, where black people always try to make it seem like Latinos are foreigners no matter how many generations we've been here. Like I said earlier, I personally get a lot more racism from black people than I ever have from white people.
Yeah, so black people we are raised with a particular mindset of not being an American. And we believe that other Americans don't treat us as such. So when the Latinos, like he was saying, all of a sudden don't coincide or agree with certain black struggles and fights, they believe that now the Latino, quote unquote, wants to be white, when the Latinos are just voting for what's going to help them in their lives. And with everything in me, I cannot understand how a black person is voting Democrat, because nothing about any of their policies is helping black people. Like, you have to vote for the policy, not vote for the person or the party. And once I realized that, I broke free, because Republicans want any and everything that's good for the American people. Democrats are opportunists, and they want what's good for a particular group of people. And once they're done with you, it's over. They've been getting the black vote at a 90% or more clip since the 60s, late 60s, 70s. And to be honest, there's a huge amount of black people that are jumping ship and hopping over to the Republican Party as far as voting. There's only a two-party system, so even if you don't, we'll go there another time. But they're voting Republican now. And I don't think a lot of, the casual voters see that, but I do. I pay attention now. 25% of men voted for the Republicans in the last presidential election, and only 8% of women, but that's more than previous. And I believe next time there's going to be even more, because we're growing. And it's not about trying to be white, because, of course, being black, having a white wife, a lot of the comments I get are, you're trying to be accepted by white people. I don't give a fuck about white people like that. What you mean? I care about what's going to be best for me. And I don't give a damn about the transes. I don't give a damn about abortion. I don't give a damn about all these taxes that they're trying to do. I mean, Democrats created income tax. Like, they've created a tax in California to where you have to pay more money depending on how many miles you drive. Like, come on, man. Like, in all the black beliefs and values, none of that shit aligns with Democrats. And you got to get to the point where you got to understand you have to use parties. They work for you. Even if you wanted to use them to get civil rights passed, even though the Democrats didn't, the Republicans actually voted in the majority to pass Civil Rights Act. Even if you want to use a party, you don't stick with them forever. Or are they just dangling that welfare carrot in front of you? So you guys got to keep voting so you can get your SNAP, so you can get your Section 8. Like, is it that many black people that's on it to where they care that much? Or if you're not on it, you care about people who are not making their fair share to support themselves, to stick on Section 8 and welfare? Like, we got to do better as people. Our mindset is completely shot. completely shot. And I'm so glad that people are noticing it and actually saying something about
Black
it.
people regularly tell me that my family is going to be getting taken back from Mexico because I voted for Donald Trump. And no matter how many times I tell them that I was born in this country and both of my parents are United States citizens, they still remind me that I'm going to get deported. But again, black people insist on lumping all of us as Latinos together. Like whenever you see a Cuban getting deported or hear about Cubans getting deported, black people will right away start playing I Will Vote for Donald Trump, which a lot of us find that funny. But when they actually play that on the black blogs, because that's usually where it is, there'll be a bunch of black people in the comments being like, where are the Latinos for Trump now? How do the Latinos for Trump feel about this? And we're like, what do you mean? How should I feel about it? You mean the president I voted for is actually doing what I voted for him to do? But at the same time, black people, you have to remember that while you're doing and saying that, it just reminds us as Latinos that you do not see us as Americans anyway. So with you not seeing us as Americans anyway, why are we supposed to take your side again? Like really exactly what is supposed to be so appealing to us about black people that we're going to allow you to control us and tell us how we're supposed to think when you make it clear at every turn that you don't really like or respect us anyway? Exactly where is this loyalty supposed to come from? And exactly what do you offer? That's
Yeah, so it's absolutely asinine for any person, you know, particularly black people, since that's what the topic we're on now, to tell Hispanic people, Latino people, that if you vote Trump in, you're going to get deported. No one's deporting U.S. citizens. No matter what the Democratic Party is feeding you, force feeding you, not a single American citizen has been deported. I had a friend of mine I've known since maybe like sixth grade. I'm 42 right now. I only reposted a clip of Obama, Biden, Clinton, both Clintons actually, clips from them saying that we need to get illegals out. They're taking their jobs. They're running up house prices, things of that nature. Because, you know, they completely flip-flopped on their stances only because, you know, Orange Man bad. But that's another topic. So I reposted that clip, and that guy, he messaged me in the inbox. And I can't remember what he said exactly, but the conversation pretty much led to he feels like his wife is going to get deported. And she has a green card. And I was like, she has a green card. You guys are married. You guys have been married for like almost 30 years. Like, she's fine. And just to know that, and like how much the Democrats fear monger their base is kind of concerning, and also it's pretty sad. And then he removed me as a friend because I agreed with the deportation of illegal immigrants. And I told him, like, hey, man, you're being fear mongered. Your wife is fine. And he removed me once I said I support what ICE is doing. But just like the gentleman here says in the video, they don't like illegal immigrants either. If you come here, you got to come legally. Point blank, period. There are laws on the books. ICE has not broken any laws. They're doing their job. And I don't understand why this is so hard to understand. I mean, the left is just so anti-law enforcement in general. First it was defund the police, you know, and now it's abolish ICE. They just won't stop. They're so exhausting. They're so exhausting. Without a country with law enforcement, we would just kill each other, kill ourselves. I live out here in Seattle. They hired a mayor who has previously said we need to figure out a way to move forward without Seattle PD. They hired her. She is a self-proclaimed socialist. No socialist country has ever survived. Cuba, Venezuela. I mean, North Korea is surviving, but do you want to live there? Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Let's roll.
What I'm not getting in all of this, when black people are so angry with Latinos, what exactly do you offer us? Your lives don't even look appetizing. And to see black people constantly going on in different comment sections about everybody just wants to be us, nobody wants to be you, black people. Not even you want to be you. So how dare you say that Latinos want to be you or that white people want to be you? Like I said, you don't even want to be you. And it's only because black people don't think that they can be racist that they're 100% racist. So like I said, it's like black people keep coming to us as Latinos trying to guilt trip us and act like we're supposed to have some sort of solidarity and some sort of relationship that we just don't have. And in large part because you never built that relationship, black people. But really, instead of trying to guilt trip us or try to make it seem like we're supposed to have this solidarity that we do not have and that we do not owe you, how about instead you just start treating other people like human beings and with the same respect that you keep demanding from the rest of us, and see if maybe that works better. How about instead of just asking us to vote for people because they're a particular race, you actually give us some candidates that are worth investing in? Like people kept talking about Jasmine Crockett and how the Latinos had done her wrong. Little did they know, or maybe they just didn't care, that Jasmine Crockett went on a rant not too long ago on national TV where she was talking about mediocre white boys that never earned anything.
So the only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys that have been beaten out by people that historically have had to work so much harder.
Well, who do you think is going to be a big part of the voting block in Texas, which is where you are running for Senate? Not stupid enough for you? How about when she said that Latinos basically have slave mentality, or that we need Latinos in order to work the fields because black people aren't going to pick cotton anymore?
Fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
Girl. Okay, none of y'all. What?
You're not. We done picking
Look at
cotton.
that hair. Girl, take that skunk off your head.
You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Well, guess who is working the farms? So the reality is that so long as we live in a capitalist society, there's always going to be someone or a group of people that will do work that some of the rest of y'all don't want to do.
So when you let it be known that that's the way you think about two of your major voting blocks in the state of Texas, how could you expect that you were gonna win? Did you think?
Guys, Jasmine Crockett is so deplorable. I can't believe that she even got as far as she did, running for Senate now. Like, it's crazy. And I've seen some people like, hey, support Jasmine Crockett, going out to her little rallies where she had 50 people or whatnot. But we don't want, at least I can't say we, because the majority of black folks would have probably liked to see her in office, which is insane. But we don't need that type of character in public office. We need to see people that are well spoken, have decorum, not trying to use this ghetto accent, because it's come out that she doesn't even speak that way. She was raised in private school, went to the most expensive schools. She's well educated. You don't have to do that to connect with people. And trust me, you're not going to connect with the type of people that's going to actually vote for you. You're going to connect with the people who don't even actually vote, honestly. And she's just so oblivious to say that the only people affected about certain things are mediocre white men. I mean, even if that's the case, most people are average, if you want to be honest. And there's maybe just a lot of mediocre, average white people, white men in Texas. And trust me, when I say that, I don't mean anything derogatory. I'm just trying to say verbiage that she presented. Your average man, they vote, and you're disparaging them. And then to say that Latinos have slave mentality? What? Do you not know any Latinos? You live in Texas. Man, like, My Hispanic friends, their names and images are running through my brain right now. Nothing about them screams slave mentality. Nothing. These people are hard workers, business owners. Their children, they're raising great children. They have great parents as well. And you got to remember, Latinos, especially Latino men, they honestly got Trump in office. They lean right to the max. And hopefully I can get more and more black men to do the same.
Think black people alone were going to get you to where you needed to be? Because to me, that just doesn't sound smart strategically. And while we're on the subject of Jasmine Crockett and people being here illegally, why don't we talk about that for a second? As far as Latinos go, Jasmine Crockett was really trying to appeal to people that are in this country illegally. Well, if they're not here legally, then exactly how are they going to vote? So your strategy was, just to make sure I have it right, was to turn off white men, turn off Latinos, appeal to black people and illegals, and you thought that that was going to get you somewhere in Texas. But then when that doesn't work out, rather than just accept that your messaging was off, instead, you want to blame Latinos and act like we did you wrong. Make it make sense.
All right. It doesn't make sense. I'm going to cut it off right there. There's actually a little bit more. And I know this video has gotten long. Hopefully you guys have paid attention and you are still here. If you're still here, go ahead and comment. I'm still here. I appreciate the video. Something of that nature down below. But black people, people see you. People see us. They see us acting out in public. They see us wilding out. They see our behavior. They see our literary achievements or lack thereof. They see the type of people that we try to promote as far as our representatives, Jasmine Crockett and Plies. And please, can we stop promoting rappers as our representatives and spokespersons? Why? Why do we do that? There's no reason on this green earth that Thomas Sowell is not the leading spokesperson for black people. But you know why he's not? Because he holds black people accountable. And when you do that, you're racist. You're an Uncle Tom. You're a house Negro. A coon. May I say you're a coon. That's crazy. We can't have any accountability at all. None. Wilding at rodeos, convenience stores, welfare queens, generational. And I know it happens. It's in my family. Oh, I can't go get a job, or I can't make this much money because they're going to take my benefits away. That's the point, dummy. But again, I'm happy that people of other races and groups of people are bringing topics like this to the black community and letting us know where we fall short and what we need to do. We have to understand we cannot make it and progress anything that we want without the help of other people and other races. We are only 13% of the population. Could be more, but baby deletion, we ain't gonna go there. We are only 13% of the population. You think Obama got in because black people voted him in? No. Black people have the highest rate of non-voters anyway. We ain't doing nothing without other people. And then Jasmine Crockett gonna get up here and talk shit about white people, white men, and Latinos. You don't need to be talking shit about nobody. You need to be begging people to come out and vote. 13% and way less than half, maybe less than a quarter vote. What you gonna do with that? There's so many things we need to correct within the community. So many things. So many things. make sure you leave your comments down in the comment section, because I really want to know. I really want to read what you guys have to say. This video has gotten extremely long. I was deciding whether or not I was going to make it this long, but I really was intrigued and appreciative of that video that gentleman made, because it's something that we needed to hear, and a lot of things that I preach, but it's different when it comes from other people. And I would like to find even other races of people that are saying similar things and holding Black people accountable. Okay. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 9,000 subscribers. And again, leave your comments down in the comment section so we can have a conversation. Until next time, this is the Black American channel of the free and the brave.